Well, are you tired of using a cup and tweezers to drop single kernels when you're reloading with powder? Hi everyone, it's a 4-gun guy. And today I'm going to talk to you about that in reloading. It's kind of a pain, and it's one of those things that, over the years as I've been reloading, I started, of course, with my Chargemaster light up here, and then I went to the Auto-Trickler V3, which was just fantastic, and it still is fantastic, but I still find myself spending time like dropping single kernels just to get to a weight that I'm comfortable with for PRS competition. So today I wanted to talk to you about something that I just purchased. It's the Ingenuity Precision Powder Meter. And this is a different concept than the Trickler here that comes with the Auto-Trickler. And we're going to look at that. So what I thought we'd do today is, why did I go to this, and kind of an overview of it. The setup, let's see how this thing gets set up. And then I want to do a comparison between the Trickler, the Auto-Trickler, and the powder meter, just to kind of see how they do compare. And then we'll have some final thoughts. So if you're ready to go, let's get to it. Well, let's talk a little bit about why I am trying this Ingenuity Precision powder meter. Now, when I throw powder, I've switched to Varget as my powder, and I'm shooting a 6mm BRA cartridge. So really 30 grains of Varget, 30 on the button. Works really well for me. It gets me to about 2,800 feet per second. And with my Sierra Match King 107 grain projectiles, that seems to be a really good sweet spot. And those are loaded about 30 thousandths off the lands. But I'm just one of those guys that, some people I talk to will say, a kernel high, a kernel low, I don't care. Now with Varget, it's about 2/100ths of a grain per kernel. So if you're throwing 30.0 and you get to 29.98 or 30.02, for most people that's fine. I just can't do that. If I throw a 29.96, then I'm using this little dial here on this trickler, and I'm trickling to put like 2 more kernels in the cup. Well, it usually overdoes that. So then I'm taking a kernel out. So you can see, and it's just me. Look guys, I know I'm gonna get in the comments, you're way too, why are you thinking about it? This is just PRS, this isn't F-class. Right, get a Prometheus if you wanna get that precise. And look, I get all that. I'm just telling you, this is me. So I just wanted a way to get within that 2/100ths of a grain range. And hopefully this Ingenuity Precision, from everything I've seen and read about it, is going to get us there. Now, why and how is it going to get us there? Well, the one thing about the Auto-Trickler is, as you all know or would know if you researched it, is it's got this rotating tube here, right here. And this rotating tube spins at a certain speed, and then it speeds up, slows down, depending on how close to your target weight it is. And as this spins, it's moving kernels down this tube. They get to the end of the tube and they drop in. And for the most part, it works. But again, I find myself, in fact, I did a tick and tie the last time I threw 100 rounds, and I had 15 out of the 100 that actually hit the target weight. I had 85 that were not 30.0 grains with this machine. But if it throws below 30, then I'm here with a cup and tweezers, and I'm dropping a kernel in the in the cup to make it come out the way I want it, just because I'm that crazy about this stuff. So I did think I'm going to try this Ingenuity Precision, saw a lot about it. And the way this works is it's got these discs. So I'm not really going to do an unboxing here. I'm just going to kind of show you how this is all put together. And by the way, it comes in a really nice packaging. I mean, this is really sturdy. UPS could probably throw this around, which I'm sure they did. But if I come up here, and I don't know if this is going to focus, but you can see down inside there this disc that's rotating, and that's what happens. There's serrations on the edge of this disc, and so we're going to see how this works. It's got the tube that comes down here, and as this spins, it drops a kernel at a time, which is pretty awesome. And that's how you get that accuracy. So what you get in the box again is you get 3 discs with this thing, and the disc that I'm going to use is the, what is it, the 7545, which really handles a lot of different powders, 4895, 4350, Varget, Benchmark, Rotumbo, and some others from other manufacturers. So he sends you this list, and then he sends you a, which I dropped on the floor, but it's a QR code, and then you scan the QR code. I just did it with my iPad, and you can then get right here to the use and instructional videos. So there's, I didn't see really a manual for this thing. It's just videos that you're going to watch, and I'm just pulling this out of the box. So I'm going to put this together. Now, I also got the motor included in mine, and I don't think you actually need to do that. You could use the motor out of your Trickler here. Okay, let's talk about setup. Now, you see that I put a hole in the top of the plexiglass on my scale here, and I actually put the hole too far out. It should have been closer to the center, because you can see I had to take like a grinding bit and kind of grind a 45-degree in. And that's because this plexiglass here is a good 3/8 inch. It might even be 1/2 inch thick. It's really thick. So, you know, that's what you have to consider. Now, the assembly itself was pretty good. I'll give it a B. You watch the videos and you assemble it. Some things just aren't explained, and you got to kind of figure out yourself, which is no big deal. But yeah, I really like the sturdiness of it, the way it sits here. Now, I will have to say, I had to add some furniture pads on each point. There's 2 front points on this scale and 1 rear point. And I had to do that because this thing wouldn't fit under the scale. Now, beyond that, I mean, when I got this thing together, hooked it up, I unplugged this cable from my Trickler that came with the Auto-Trickler. I plugged it into this thing. I calibrated. I got the Auto-Trickler software. I set my target weight, and it just worked. I mean, to me, that's awesome that I didn't have to install any other software. I didn't have to do anything special. I just plugged that cable into this piece of equipment that I just bought, and it just ran. So it's awesome. And you can see it just threw 30 grains, which is what I have it set to. But I just wanted to show you the overall setup here, and just to tell you that to set this up was pretty darn easy. I'll give the setup an A. I'll give the instructions kind of a B, because there's some places in the video you really can't see what he's doing and what he has in his hand and stuff. But I mean, honestly, it took me 15 minutes to get this all set up properly. Let's go to the comparison, and then I'm going to show you a shot of reloading. Okay, so I have the scale set up with the regular Auto-Trickler that comes with it. I'm going to take 20 readings, and I'm going to jot down the weight of each reading. I'm going to do a little bit of timing, but quite honestly, I didn't really get this for the speed of drop, or I think they're both going to be fairly close. I'll do a little bit of that, but let's see here. So I'm going to set the target weight, my normal target weight, 30.0 of Varget, and I think we're good to go. Let's go. So from the drop, now that was the first drop, right? And we got a 30.04, and it took 18.3. Now, some of you are going to say, your trickler is too slow. You've got your trickler set too slow, and you should speed up your drop. And I get that. Let's see what we get here. Okay, so that was 9.96, so 9.9, let's say, and that was 30.02. Okay, here we are with the Ingenuity. I have it set up. I've got my 30 grains there all ready to go. And I've done just a little adjusting. I've thrown maybe 4 throws with this thing. I adjusted the initial powder throw, and then I adjusted the trickler on the back. And so let's see here. I'm going to get my timer, and we're going to start throwing this stuff. Here we go. Okay. Okay, 7.5, 29.98. Looks like it's going to underthrow more, and that's what I had read, that this will underthrow. The big thing about this is it will not overthrow. So we'll see. Wow. 6.9, and that was 30 on the button. Okay. This is looking promising, guys. Okay, I wanted to show you, let's just do 5 rounds and see how fast this is. So this is my process right here. Now, I know I could do things differently. I know I could load all the cases first and all that stuff, but this is just how I like to do it. There's one. Put that on there. Because I like to know that I've moved the funnel and that I've done all that stuff. Spin that, seat it, there, 30.0 on the button. Move the funnel. And I spin, I don't know if you're watching this, but I spin the seating die as I put the bullet up in there, and it makes the bullet go down there faster. So if you just do that, spin that, it vibrates a little bit. It also vibrates the powder a little bit to settle it in. 30 on the button, last one was 29.98. I think I'm getting about 1 load every 15 seconds. The thrower's taking about 7.5 seconds, and I'm taking about 7.5 seconds. There's one spot on 30. So there you go. That was 5 of them. I don't know what time, how much time that was, but I'll look on the video and see what it comes out to be. But I can't believe how wonderful this thing is, and the reason is I don't have to sit there and worry about overthrowing. This thing just does not overthrow. It's 30, 29.98, so it is literally within one kernel every throw, which is great. Let's look at some numbers here. Again, I did 20 drops with each one, the Auto-Trickler and then the powder meter, and I'm going to put these up here on the screen. Now the first two sets are by the drop, right? The weight. So I thought, let me look at the weight. So I just sorted by the highest weight to lowest weight. And you can see on the Auto-Trickler, I had 2 overthrows at 30.04. I had 3 overthrows at 30.02. I had 1, 2, 3, 6, 9 that were, is that right? Yeah, 3, 6, 9 that were 30 exactly. And I had 6 that were 1 grain or 2 100ths under. So the average there came out to 30 grains, but you've got to look at what makes that average up there. The ES, or extreme spread, of the drops was 6 hundredths, which would be 3 kernels. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in final thoughts, but 3 kernels of powder was the over-under. And then you can see the times there. We're going to get to the times in a second. On the Ingenuity, which is the next column over, you see that we had, 3, 6, 9 that were 30 grains on the drop, and 11, I'm assuming that's 11, 11 that were 29.98 with an ES of 0.02, or 1 kernel difference. So 3 kernels versus 1 kernel. Now let's go over to the time. The time, look, I left the time in on those first 2 columns, even though I had a large time issue with the powder meter and a few that you can see with the Auto-Trickler. But the one with the powder meter was because the cup hadn't seated, so that's what that long time was. But time-wise, if you stay on the left-hand side, let's look at all the drops. Average was 10.7 seconds for the Auto-Trickler and 7.5 for the Ingenuity Precision, the powder meter. That's a difference of about 3 seconds, right? A little over 3 seconds. If we go over to the right-hand side and we take out the high times for each one of those and then do the averages, you can see that on the Auto-Trickler it's the same. ES is 0.06. On the Ingenuity it's 0.02. And then on the time, on the Auto-Trickler it's 10.3. And on the Ingenuity Precision, it's 7.19 or 7.2. So again, a difference of about 3 seconds per drop. Now, what does all this mean? Well, you can go with either one of these things, right? so I'm not even going to wait for final thoughts on this part of this. Look, as I said earlier in this video, a lot of the guys I shoot with think I am totally crazy when I am picking up kernels of powder with a pair of tweezers and making that weight come out right. That's just me, all right? But if you look down at the bottom of this sheet, you will see that I did some calculations here. Now, roughly, and this is from research online, roughly 1 kernel of Varget weighs about 2 hundredths of a grain. 1 kernel of Varget affects your velocity approximately 2 feet per second, okay? So the Auto-Trickler variance has a variance from low to high of roughly 6 feet per second velocity-wise. The Ingenuity has a variance of about 2 feet per second velocity-wise. And to me, that just makes me feel better, right? The 6 feet per second at 1,000 yards, I did that calculation too. In fact, let's put that up there. I went out to shooterscalculator.com and I used my information from my 6BRA. And I put some numbers in here. If you have a 6/100ths difference, which is what the Auto-Trickler had, at 1,000 yards, I'll put this up here, 1,000 yards, you will be off, could be off by a range of 1.5 inches, basically. 1.5 inches at 1,000 yards, okay? At 500 yards, you're pretty much there. You're off by 0.3 of an inch. At 800 yards, you're off by maybe 1 inch, less than 1 inch. So I just wanted to bring this up to say that I'm kind of crazy about this stuff. I'll tell you what, let's get to final thoughts because I have some things I want to go over there that'll help us close this out. Well, there you have it. Thanks for hanging in there on this one. Let's run down some things. Number one, remember what I said. I'm not interested in saving time with this, right? I do not load 50 cases and then seat the bullets, right? I do it all at one time, as you saw. And that just keeps me on track. That's all that's for. It's for me. You want to do it differently, 50, and then seat the bullets. I think that's great. Do what makes you happy and what the process that you're used to. We also saw that 6/100ths of a grain doesn't seem to make that much difference for PRS. PRS, not F class, right? Or bench rest. Look, it doesn't make that much difference. And I'm going to do a whole nother video on that. Accuracy. That was what I loved about this thing. I've dropped probably now 150, 160 rounds because I reloaded right after I did what I was showing you. Always 28.98 or 30.0 on the button. Never overthrew one case. And to me, that's huge. Accuracy is the big thing that I got this for. Can you just leave your Auto-Trickler V3 or your V4 and not get this? Absolutely, absolutely. This is not one of those videos where I'm saying this is the best thing since sliced bread and you need to get rid of everything else you have and get this. If you were getting an Auto-Trickler V3 or V4 and you wanted to get this at the same time, I would say, yes, do it. Do it. You'll just be happy. You'll be very happy. If you're crazy like me with the preciseness of dropping that powder, you'll be very happy with this. So, engineering-wise, great. Instruction-wise, remember I said, maybe a B. I'd like to see more of a actual manual instead of just the video. But other than that, this thing is awesome. Well, thanks for hanging in there. I really do appreciate it. Hey, I was at a 2-day match last month and I had about 4 or 5 people come up to me and they'd start off with, "You look familiar to me." And then I'd say, "4-gun guy?" And they would just, we'd shake hands and they thanked me for my videos and I really appreciate it. I love meeting you guys out there in the field and kind of hoping and knowing that I've contributed just a little bit to this great sport. So thanks for the likes, subscriptions, comments. And until next time, guys, shoot straight.